Hey students, today we are going to talk about how to draw your plants. This is based on the artist Georgia O'Keeffe. We're going to use a viewfinder today. Sometimes you might see a director of a movie or a photographer holding their hands like this to make a square or a rectangle over their subject. We're going to do the same thing with a piece of paper called a viewfinder. The viewfinder, quite often, we are overwhelmed by what we're looking at. By using a viewfinder, it isolates part of the whole image. It allows you to focus your attention. The viewfinder also helps by finding an interesting composition. You can easily zoom in or zoom out of your subject matter, like this. You can crop it, find something interesting that you like. The other good thing about viewfinders is it helps you to convert a three-dimensional world into a flat space by looking through it. By looking through the viewfinder, it's almost like looking at a photograph. So it's easy to convert what you see here to your piece of paper here. You can also use it as kind of like the grid method. So if say that I crop the image to here, I can tell that the center of the flower is in the top right hand corner of my square. And if I want to draw a line even, I know it's about a quarter of the way across the paper here. So then when I draw it on my paper here, it's going to be about a quarter of the way in my paper. Today we're going to use a viewfinder to zoom in on your succulent. And then you're going to draw your succulent onto this piece of paper. This is not your final piece. We're actually going to transfer the image from this piece of paper onto your final piece of paper. The reason why we're going to draw this twice is because this paper is much cheaper than the watercolor paper that you'll be using. And you will only get one piece of watercolor paper, whereas this paper you can get as many pieces as you need. So let's go ahead and start by making an interesting composition. So I like this right here. So then I know I'm going to crop it here and here. Now these leaf shapes are kind of like ovals. And you're drawing really large as well. Okay, so now I have my drawing complete. Now from here, I want to transfer my drawing that I made here onto my final piece of paper. And again, I drew this really quickly. I expect that this would take you at least 20 minutes to draw your final drawing, but just for the sake of time, I drew mine really quickly. To transfer your drawing onto your final paper, you're first going to okay it with me, and then I'll give you your final paper. And how we'll transfer it is with a graphite transfer, and that just means that on the back of your first drawing, you are going to just scribble with your pencil. You want the whole thing to be covered. Okay, and then with your final paper, you're going to put that underneath your first drawing. And then you'll simply trace over the lines that you first drew. And that transfers your initial drawing over. So I'm just tracing on my lines, and if you make a mistake, you'll have to figure out some way to fix it, which is why I want you to do all your erasing and all your fixing on the first piece of paper. And once you transfer your image, it should be really pretty simple from there, that you're just tracing over what you've already done. Okay. So there is my transfer drawing. This is what I would love for you to get to today. If you don't get to this, you can do it tomorrow as well. But this is our goal.